Hey there and welcome. It's Carol Reinley with Carol Reinley's Imagination Podcast. And today I'm excited that we have Annette Auger with Pink Lotus Aromatics. And Annette is a healer of amazing magnitude. She's certified in many expansive technologies and techniques, and she works with sound frequencies, custom blends, essential oils, which are absolutely amazing. Very high quality, and plays with energies to open up your greatest possibilities. So she can help you access the elixir of youth and vitality by providing a relaxing experience which can increase circulation, tone internal organs, and soothe your nervous system. So welcome, Annette. Thank you for coming to play today. Today's topic is sound therapy for your optimal health, because as we go into 2021 and we're coming out of, we won't even say the year.
I agree.
It's just being focused on health in different ways. And we get a lot of stuff. And then as energy peeps, we kind of get a lot of stuff projected at us. The thing that was kind of pushing my button this morning was be safe. So what does that actually mean? And when somebody says that to you, is it a light energy or a interesting energy? What would that mean for you, Annette?
Well, I think it depends who I'm talking to
Yeah.
and how they usually communicate. But it means to me, when they say that, I'm feeling that they're coming from a place of fear.
Yes.
Versus a place of everything's going to be okay. Be mindful, be conscious, be aware.
Yeah.
And, take it a step at a time, as opposed to. So I say, the short answer is they're coming from a place of fear versus a place of total awareness or mindfulness.
Yeah. So there's and it's almost an energy that seems to be kind of projected at us.
Right.
And so it's just being aware of that. And if you're really paying attention to the energies, and we'll talk about that as related to sound, if you're really paying attention to the energies, we kind of have an internal mechanism that alerts us about safety,
Right.
And so it doesn't have to be something that's projected from the outside. We have an internal sense.
Right.
So I know you wanted to talk about cymatology, which is kind of the energy of the using sound and healing. Can you explain a little bit more about what that is and what you do with that in your practice?
Okay, sure. Well, it's called cymatherapy, and it's been around for some time. So I'll just explain a little background, and then we'll go right into what it is, because it's Dr. Guy Manners who started using sound as a healing modality in the 1960s, mind you. And he had he's a British osteopath, and he had a clinic up until 2005 when he retired. He died at 102. And so all these years, so he was experimenting, exploring, and in his clinic showed how sound could heal people. So the sound machine then, which was developed by Mandara Cromwell from Cyma Technologies, is this machine right here. Now, what they did in all of because this is a meridian, it's called acoustic meridian intelligence. And what it is they are frequencies. So there's like 5 frequencies into one commutation, equals one commutation. So this machine, and then you put your feet on it, and it has the sound frequencies that actually uses the meridian pathways to open up those blockages that you have, because the frequencies are actually designed to, they have the, how do I say this here? They are associated with healthy tissues and organ systems. So when it's going through the meridian pathways, what it's doing is it's clearing the blockages. And an easy way to explain it, I think, is think of Christmas tree lights. There's a bulb that's out. Okay, now you get a break in that circuit. Well, that's what you have in your body sometimes. Change the bulb, and now you have the brightness and the fullness and the whole stream. Well, that's what is going on in your body. So it's got the natural abilities to heal itself. So that's the kind of like compartmentalized definition of it. So with what they've done here with the sound, the advanced sound technology in this, we have stress relief. You have pain relief, or the reduction of pain. You have vitality. There are 10 different channels on here for various protocols, and they're all designed. Every one of them is designed to ensure that your body gets back to balance so that it's able to heal itself, and it opens up all those pathways. The luxury of it is it impacts mind, body, and spirit because of the design that it has, the design of how our body is actually made, and the amazing healing properties that we came into this world. When we were born, we have them. So that's the long and short of actually what that is, if that's helpful.
Yeah, that's a great explanation. And so say I have emotional upsets coming up, like and I would come in to see you. I would put my feet on the sound thing, and it would just kind of sense what's off.
Right. What we would do there is, because what happens is you're stressed. That's a trigger, right? Because you're having emotional upset. So there's causing stress. It's causing stress on the body. So what we're going to do is you'd come in and then you'd lay down. Typically what I do is lay down, although you can be sitting down. And you put your feet on the gel pads, and then we would put the setting on the stress setting. And then at that point, you would just lay down and quiet. Now, dependent upon the individual, I would have music going. Also, I would have some essential oils going, dependent again on the individual. I particularly like burning frankincense because it's a nice, soothing, calming oil for the person. There's certain types of music that I play that again are all soothing and calming. And then the person has 30 minutes of total relax time to they can sleep during it. Some do. Or they can just listen to the tones. Some people are a little bit, you might be a little bit like, oh, these tones, they're hurting my ears, because they're very sensitive to it and what's happening in the bodies. It's reacting with the body. So it's calming and balancing. Well, it depends on the individual. I particularly like hearing the sounds, but some people don't. And it doesn't matter either way. It's going to help you. So that's how we'll approach that. There's a few things that we can do, but it would be the stress setting that I would start people with, that I do start people with, so that we can calm it down first.
I know that, and I didn't mean to interrupt you. I know that you came from corporate America.
Yeah.
and so what led you down this path of looking at these different kind of natural things of helping the body, assisting the body, all those things?
Oh, yeah. Well, I ended up, I was in corporate America, and then I ended up not feeling well myself. I had some thyroid issues. And so at that point, I liked more of the holistic approach to things versus other things for myself. And so, a friend of mine guided me to a holistic practitioner, and I started seeing her. And she was one of the people that was actually using sound at the time, as well as, acupuncture and other things. And she asked if I was interested in trying that. And I did. That was way back in 2005. Oh. And so one thing led to the other. So this worked so well. I ended up by buying my own machine so that I could have my own machine. And then from there, I got trained in how to use it. And then I started practicing and seeing clients myself because of the profound impact that it had on me at the very beginning. When I started using it, it was just amazing. Now, it wasn't that, and I don't want to have people like, oh, I started in 2005 and I was, I was all balanced in 6 months. It took a couple of years to finally really get a good balance and off all of the medications and that was required for what I had at the time. And I've not looked back. And so I encourage people, it's like, okay, why didn't it work today? Well, it is working today, but how old are you and how much baggage are you carrying?
Yeah, how many years did it take to develop all the things? And what I've found with it is that I was telling somebody yesterday, it's like, because they were like, well, why did, and I keep going back to this, and it's like,
Right.
well, you get used to it.
Exactly.
It starts to feel normal to you, even though it's not a normal thing, no matter what it is, whether you are addicted to stress or you're addicted to, being busy or, it's like, or in that case, it was just attracting people that didn't treat them so well. And it's
Correct.
like, well, you kind of get used to that and you think it's normal, and
Right.
it's an energy. And so when you can shift it within yourself, that's what will start showing up out in the world. But if you're shifting a frequency and you're still kind of going back to that other for a frame of reference, you
Correct.
might have a little bit of time of it balancing itself out, where some of it still shows up, but you still, you have the new energy over here. And it's just a
Exactly.
matter
And
of like moving in and being patient with that. I know I'm not a very patient person all the time with all that stuff, but there's many years that you've gotten used to being in that energy space.
correct.
And so letting go of that energy, it can be a process of, like you said, it's not, sometimes it can be overnight. Sometimes it's a matter of just adjusting.
It's a mattering of adjusting things because our bodies are so amazing and we've got the ability to, I'm going to say, tolerate a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
That said, we also have the ability to receive so many things that are going to give us optimal health. So when you're doing the sound, whether you're doing it because I'm in the, I can do Zoom calls as well with the sound because right now there's a lot of virtual going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can also, the luxury is once you've heard once you have had the recording itself, then we're in the process now of actually capturing the recording as it is so that we can have the client, keep the recording and play it as needed.
Yes.
And then that way they don't have to technically have their feet on the gel pads. They are getting the commutations, the frequencies within them. And so they can do it in the, in the quiet space for themselves. I would not recommend doing it in your car because you're going to really get relaxed. It just could cause some issues there, but just saying. But with the sound, what it does, it is a step at a time. I'll give you an example. So a friend of mine's, and I think I'm okay speaking to this. I believe I am. So a friend of mine's husband had a knee replacement, and he started on sound because I said, you really should do the sound. It's going to help you to heal a lot quicker. What we found at the same time was he was a lot more calm. Mm. And so as a result, they ended up by buying a machine because it was, and I'm shortening the story here because I don't think I should say the whole thing, but because he was using the sound and he felt so much better, it not only helped his knee recover and helped him both just feel much less stressed overall. They ended up by buying a machine and they use it all the time. And they do because of what it does from a standpoint of that stress reduction. People do not realize, like you said, we get used to just being stressed all the time. It's like, oh yeah, this is how I feel. And with the sound, it helps you to really get more balanced.
So I would say, like, rather than stay safe, it would be stay calm,
Yeah.
or go to your calm space, because I know for me and then others that I've worked with, it's like they don't realize how much they're not listening to their body. And like you said, our body's just so, and it's probably much more intelligent than our silly selves are.
Exactly.
We're
Exactly.
using this body. We're infinite being using these bodies, and we don't always listen to it.
Right.
We don't always listen to nature. We don't always listen to those natural things that are at the frequency of what we naturally authentically are. And so it's a beautiful thing when you can get to that space. And a lot of times, like you said, we don't know that we're not there. We might have 40 years or however many years thinking that stress was the way that we needed to be out in the world. And what has that created? It's created these people that are rushing around thinking they never got all their stuff done, having all these things to do. Their day goes by like that. And it's the stay calm, look around, see the beauty of things.
Exactly.
And I think that's what, like the sound therapy and the essential, I know you do a lot of essential oils as well, takes you to that natural space of getting connected. So that, because normally, I know medical doctors say this a lot, and I won't say, particular one or whatever, but I think I've heard it said over and over and over again that by the time we have pain in our body, or something like cancer or other things are showing up in our body, it's been something that has been there for a while and has tried to tell us in different ways. And when we're not connected and listening to our body, it gets louder and louder
Right.
and louder. So what are the ways that you kind of share with people to, besides coming in and getting the sound therapy, that you would tell people to help them get, I don't want to say back to, but just to that place of being connected again?
Well, we talk about breath work because breath work is so key into staying calm, staying grounded, and staying centered. So, what I typically will do is there's a as you know, with breath work, there are many techniques that you can use. I try and keep it extremely simple, especially at the beginning, because I know with breath work, even for myself, when one of the yoga instructor I know, she used to tell me, Annette, breath work. Okay. Okay, when, right? And
Yeah.
so I have to, so I can appreciate that when someone's like, really, it took me a while to finally, I said, get sold myself, even though I knew the benefit of it. So I explained to people, simple. You want to take 6 breaths. That you can take about 6 breaths, inhale, exhale in about 1 minute. And I did I would time it that way. I could tell someone, okay, can you take 6 breaths? Well, of course you can take 6 breaths. So what you want to do is this. Just put your hand to your heart. And you want to breathe in and you want to count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out and count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do that 6 times. And that really is about a minute, but from start to finish. And what that will do is it will put you in a much better state of calm. Now you can do it longer, certainly. And if you can only do 3 breaths, and if you can only count to 3, then that's okay. Because it's a starting point, and you want to have an even at the beginning and an even inhale to the exhale. That I explain that to people as something to do every day. You can do it as many times in the day. but especially if you get up when you get up in the morning and before you go to bed. You're sitting in your car at a red light. You could do it there. It's not going to put you in a space that's unsafe, but it will calm you down. And it's amazing what that does if you really do that mindfully and just that breath work. That's number one. I usually tell people that as a rule. I'll tell, especially now, more so now than I ever have because it is so required. And then the other thing is essential oils. There are a few essential oils that people can use that will help them calm them down. And they need to select one that resonates for them. So sometimes lavender is one that is very, very accessible, and people enjoy that, or you don't. It's really an interesting one. Is oh no, I don't want lavender. Frankincense is always one because frankincense impacts both the root chakra and the heart chakra. So it is a complete oil that will keep you very, very well balanced and centered, and it's a holy oil. Sandalwood is another one that is it's grounding and it's got a sweetness to it, but it's very grounding. So if you're always in your head and you're like, oh, there's a lot of chatter going on there, just put a little sandalwood on the soles, on the arch of your feet, and just take a few deep breaths. And it helps to really just center you. So just a few of those little oils. I mean, there's a number of oils, but I particularly like the sandalwood is nice, and the frankincense is nice for that are easily accessible. That will, I say, do the trick.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. And I just wanted to bring up that you did a series or a group of.
Oh, yeah, that's right. How could I forget, right?
Different frequencies. It's amazing because she's got such an talent with the oils, and then she calibrated them to different sound frequencies.
Oh, yeah.
And the combinations together, and wow, like I still use that set. Like I don't use it every day, but it's kind of like I just ask it to guide me when I require it.
The chakra blends, isn't that? And I use them every day. I use one of them every day. Yeah. So as you know, what I did is I calibrated them. So I did each of the chakras, from the root chakra to the crown chakra. And interestingly, the one that for me that's coming up these days is the pineal. And so and that one has got the pinion oil in it, and it's just really a neat smell. But it's what's nice, as you know, about the chakra blends is what is calling to you and what is going on. And so interesting that I'm glad that you brought that up, and I'm not sure why I didn't mention that to begin with, but this is a set of 7, and whatever calls to you that day and it's in a spray, and so you can just spray one or two sprays and just kind of like breathe this in and just surround yourself with it.
Yeah, I like to spray it in the air, and I remembered to close my eyes because I didn't close my eyes. So I was like, no, can't do that. And then walk through it so that it kind of comes on. And the pineal is the one I did, I think, a few days ago. It was calling to me. And it's taken me a long time to really go through to remember to ask
right.
of my body, because the body will tell you, the body will show you, it'll pop things in your head of, oh, I should drink the water, right? Like last night I realized I was a little bit dehydrated, and it was like, go get water.
Exactly. Something so simple, right? You think something so simple, and yet we lose sight of things because, okay, it's what's next, or it's time to go to bed, or it's time to get up and, oh, wait, I got a 10 o'clock appointment.
Well, we're rushing, kind of like rushing around in this world that is kind of projected at us electronically.
Right.
And when we can step out of that and just be in our space to begin with, and just doing that, like that will assist people.
Correct.
Starting there, doing the breath. You can probably hear my doggy snoring in the background. He doesn't have a problem with breath.
He's very relaxed.
I was noticing like he talks with his breath. And so,
Mhm.
like, have you ever noticed if you have a dog or a cat, and when they get up in the morning, the first thing they do is do that like
Exactly.
stretch thing? Like, where have we gotten away from that?
Right.
Because that shakes, and they can do the shake, and it shakes off the energy in their body. Well,
Hmm.
how are we doing that?
Right.
It's an amazing thing just to watch our sweet little animals and realize maybe I'm a step away from that awareness,
Right.
all that. So, yeah, but the chakra, that sort of oils are so amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I love asking the questions like, ooh, what could I play with today? Or body, what would you like?
Right.
And then it just boom, pineal or something else. Because lately, I think there's been a lot of, I feel like there's been a lot of frequencies going around in the universe and in the atmosphere. Where
Right.
I am, I've just heard a lot of planes. Last night there were like helicopters, and I was like, what is going on?
Exactly.
But
Yep.
there's a lot of frequencies around there. Plus, if you're on a computer all day, or you might have
Mm.
your cell phone. I see people walking all the time. I kind of call them phonies because they
Yeah.
walk
Yeah.
without their phone. And believe me, I've been there. And like they're out there in nature, but they're spending all their time like who's calling me and who's texting me rather than,
Exactly.
hey, I've got this big beautiful world with the, I don't know if you, I think you had posted some pictures of the sunsets and the
Oh, yeah.
over the
Yeah.
last few days have been like pink and purple and
Hmm.
orange and all these amazing colors. And I just say, look up, like,
Right.
look
Exactly.
up.
Look to the skies.
If, and I don't want to make anybody wrong because you are where you are, and I certainly have been all these places. I still am
Right.
challenged with some of that, with being on computer all day, or but it's like look up. There's
Right.
a whole big beautiful world and atmosphere around you. Look at the colors of the sky. Know that we are just blessed every day with this beautiful world.
Right.
Um, so look up and see it, and doing things like the sound and the oils and other things that might call to you. Um, certainly go with your guidance on all of that. There's great space for regular medical alternative healing, all that stuff.
Absolutely.
For
It's
me,
all it's all really required because dependent upon I tell people, listen, I want you to come and see and I want you to get sound. But if you have a broken leg, don't come see me
yeah,
until you have the leg set. Then come and see me. I
yeah,
cannot set your leg. I cannot set the bone. And a friend of mine, was so she was hysterical because she was an older woman and she was having a knee replacement now. And she had done some work with me after her husband died. And a friend of mine referred her to me. I said, okay. And I said, let's get you in, let's get you on the table. And so we did the SIMA with her. It was a 6 week. It was a 6 week protocol that we used, and it helped her get through the grief, which is amazing to me how that happened. Because she would explain to me the details and that, and I'm not going to do that here, but and then so anyways, she had to get her knee replaced. She goes, okay, what else is that thing doing? She goes, I'm having my knee replaced, and I need to get walking as soon as possible. So she saw me as soon as I went to her home as soon as she was the second day when she got after the surgery. I said, okay, here's what we're gonna do. So I went to her house. I said, until you can actually get out, I said, I'll just come to you. And within a month's time, now this woman was 75, within a month's time, she was walking without a cane.
wow,
It was like amazing. Even her therapist could not believe, like, what are you doing? Now, of course, she did all of her exercises and that and physical therapy naturally. But within a month's time from the date of surgery, she was walking without a cane. It was
yeah,
like I was blown away. I'm like, all right, go Carol. Her name was Carol. Go Carol, But this is how amazing this is. So you want to start with, getting every one of us really. You want to start with a stress relief so that your body is not in a flight, flight, fight thing. And
Yeah.
then from there, what you want to do is, okay, let's get some breath work in there. Because you can do breath work, it's free. You can do it anywhere. And you can do it every day. And let's get into some some type of body movement, right? Whatever that is for you. And what that'll do is, because what we're trying to do, right, is impact the mind, body, spirit. And you want to and then use some of the oils, making sure that you continue to be grounded and yet not, we should feel like we are securely planted on the earth and on this beautiful planet, and yet not stuck in it.
Yes.
Because we really have as a light being and as a vibrating being with all of these frequencies, we are truly want to be in a space that it can be joyful, even though things are coming at us, and feel a lot lighter. And the sound, breath work, oils, movement, that all enables us to stay more in alignment and centered versus chaotic, and like you say, continually looking at a phone versus what is around us that is going to truly keep us in optimal health.
Those are great tips, because our body is smart and so resilient. Bounce back when we're listening. So doing, like you said, doing the breath, doing the sound, looking to whatever oil might be speaking to you, essential oil, just out there willing to receive all that's out there for us in the world.
Right.
Can be such a difference. Then I'm going to put my phone right up here.
It is. It's more of an expansive feeling when you're doing that. And I think today, I think more and more people feel that. What they feel when they are, I'm going to say, compressed, versus when they are in expansion. Even though it's not the body like all puffed out, it's just a very, it's a large amount of space around you that, at least for me, it brings us more in more of a creative state as the co-creator that we truly are.
Yeah, and when I find that if I or somebody else around me is getting stuck in fear or doubt or those heavier, lower frequency energies, that's 3D reality.
Right.
And right now, generally, I'm going to be a little woo-woo-y here and say we're really kind of in 5D and sometimes beyond, and we go back and forth in all these different time spaces all at once. It's not like we're just going to hop up to 5, or we're going to
right.
We're in all these different energies because we're infinite beings that are in a bodysuit.
Mm-hmm.
So if you find that you're in that space, a lot of these things can help with that, doing the breath, doing the sound, all those other things. And then also just remember, I can rise above.
Correct.
Rise above. And the way that I used to play with a lot of people in it is getting them to humor. If you can laugh, that's going to shift things, even if you're in a crying jag about something, because there's a lot of energies up right now, and don't feel weird about being in any of them, is what I would say. It is what it is, and it's coming up and showing itself to be released usually.
Right.
So for a lot of us, we might have a lot of different energies in the body, and probably like your friend who is dealing with the grief, there's ways that it just comes up so that you can acknowledge, yes, I feel that.
Right.
And once you acknowledge it, it can go away.
Correct.
You don't have to hold on to it. I think in olden times, you had to have so many months of grief, or you were wearing black for or a veil, or all
Right,
the different
right.
things they had
Yes.
in different religions and other customs of how you would handle death. And I think that actually for me, death is kind of something to be celebrated rather than feared,
Right.
because it's going to happen to us all. None of us are getting out of here.
I know, really, right? No one escapes.
Um, so that's why I think the whole safe thing, I was like, that doesn't resonate, because what is that? You're not really moving around in your life. You're not
Right.
really, you're okay, I'm going to go sit in my house for 12 months and not talk to people. And how is that really going to affect my health?
Right. Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
what, I guess, what last advice would you have for people coming out of slowly coming out of I know every state is different and every
Right.
country is different right now. Um, our state, because we're in the same state of Georgia,
Right.
is one of the first ones that opened. So we haven't had a lot of the stuff, but still, the energy of, with it for that. How would you say to, um, if somebody is stuck in their house?
Oh, okay. So, um, well, actually, I'm going to go to this, right?
Okay.
Because even if you feel, because we have people that don't feel safe going out. I think we
Yeah.
probably all know someone who may, or a few that are like that, and then we have others who, do the exact opposite. They go into places that, there is no fear.
There's no.
So if you're in your home and you need to be there, then you still certainly you want to have your home as your sanctuary, or a place in your home that's your sanctuary. But I want to leave with this, because this is a really good book. And a friend of mine gave this to me as a gift. It's The Heart of Mysticism by Joel S. Goldsmith. And it's a really cool book. And I want to just read something, because I was looking at this. I'm like, oh, what a great little passage here. It says, awaken to the truth that the kingdom of allness is within you. Never separate or apart from you, never to be struggled for, only to be realized. So may your faith and trust always rest in the infinite invisible, that your days on earth may be joyous, healthful, prosperous, and free.
I love that.
It was just, yeah, this book really has a lot of, wonderful things like that. It's actually his letters, Joel's letters from the Infinite Way from 1955 to 1959.
Oh, wow.
And he had a course that he was doing with a number of people around the world, actually. And anyway, so that was from one of their, and I think those of us who are still indoors and need to stay, I'm going to say, in your home, and those of us who are not, it goes back to the allness within you, because we
That's
each have that no
beautiful.
matter where we are.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And that's really kind of goes back to all that we've been shown in this reality to look without is actually comes from within.
Correct.
Anything that you see out in the world is a mirror back to you.
Right.
And so kind of the way that I see it now from an energy perspective is, and that is such a beautiful statement, is that like, I don't, I guess I don't go to judgment about it anymore.
Right.
So it helps. And if you find yourself going to judgment, just kind of check that and notice the energy of it. And is it something that's being projected at you that you're reacting to, which is kind of 3D energies? Or is it showing you something that's mirroring back how you're showing up out in the world? Not
Right.
to make yourself wrong for that, because there really
Right.
is never any reason to make yourself wrong for anything,
Right.
which is the opposite of kind of what we've learned too. But it's like, it's just showing you like if you're asking for something out in the world and you're going out in the world and the world is kind of showing you some weird stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
check into that and go, oh, okay, yeah, I don't really need that energy anymore. I can release it.
Right.
Um, and doing all these different wonderful, beautiful things is just kind of a support for all of that.
Correct.
Support in helping your body, a support for shifting whatever you want to shift, a support for really receiving all that you can be out in the world.
Right.
Because it's all, if it's all just energies, like Einstein says, how can we just shift it in the moment?
Correct.
And by shifting in those little moments each time with breathing, the sound, awareness, all those things, you'll start really noticing beautiful, authentic you out in the world.
Exactly. Your being just knows, it's so intuitive that it cannot help but follow that path,
Yes.
because that is the path of truth, which
Yes.
is, all you need is that door to be opened just a bit
And
so
there's
that
an
you
easy,
can see and be aware and feel like, oh, okay, this is something that I can do. This is something that I choose to do. And I didn't realize just this tiny shift could enable that.
yeah, there's an ease to it versus a force to it. So you
Correct.
always energetic, like your body and your being know the difference.
Yep.
So,
I
but
agree.
anyway, what fun. So if you want to reach out to beautiful Annette and all her lovely things, she's at pinklotusaromatics.com. And you can also email her at pink.lotusaromatics@gmail.com. And we'll put the links when we post this out in all the arenas. Watch for it on YouTube, etc. So thank you, Annette.
Well, thank you for having me, Carol. I appreciate it. It's been fun.
Yeah, and I look forward to 2021 with some cool new energies.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.